Yeah, I know I've heard about this game for like a long time ago. I never actually got around to play it. Alright, so here we go, I guess. This here is the beginner's guide. Currently available on Steam. It was suggested to me by Goromexis. And, well, I'm looking forward to seeing this. I really do. I hope this is fun. Made by the same guys from Stanley Parable. Yeah, exactly. So, I guess this is it. Here we go. Sure, audio's on. Yep. Vast and left mouse click. Alright. Yeah, that's sort of
Hi
like
there.
why.
Thank you very much for playing The Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda. Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. But what I like is that even though he starts from the simple aesthetic of a desert town, he then scatters these colorful abstract blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together, is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveyWreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game. As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
I wonder how he got access to all of these. Oh.
Warning.
Jesus.
Whisper machine active. Shift destruction imminent.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Security code breached. Hostile alien life form inbound.
can't shoot
It
anymore.
kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters or enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets.
I noticed.
But ultimately, we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin shift evacuation.
I love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room. Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the Whisper Machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Right, my god.
You there, in the engine room. You could save us all. That beam is powering the Whisper Machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
I don't have much of a choice, do I? I guess I have to.
Let me pause here for a second. What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
I couldn't walk out the door.
The beam
Alright.
causes you to start floating.
Right,
And this is an
really
important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it, like how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Hi there, dinner. So happy to see Geek first place. Oh, the past was behind her.
Yep,
Ush.
in this game you can only walk backwards.
Yep. I can't strafe. This will be interesting. Oh.
So it's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
Hi there, Endar Collie, by the way. Oh, there's another way. When she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. God damn it, this is this is so odd. If the future is always behind her, how we should find the strength. God damn it, this would be the perfect jump scare game. Holy shit. How do I...
It's a
What?
short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick. Okay, next one.
No, man, I can... No, alright. You're now entering. Oh yeah, I can jump in this one. I don't like this Slender Manor feeling of this.
And that's it. Okay, the meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting. Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games. I wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, like, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
Oh. Is this the Goro special? Yeah, it is. Oh, wait. Yeah, you're totally right. You're totally right. Here we go. There we go. The special we all been waiting for 3 years is exactly that one. Oh, I move slow. Oh, I can't walk up
Once
anymore.
you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
They're manipulating me so freaking good. There's nothing here. Wait, what?
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games. Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that. It can be a very slow climb to get there.
Really appreciating that Goro handing up this game, as you can watch. I really enjoy this too. This is, I mean, it is a bit freaky so far. There is just something that puts me off with these kind of experiences, but it's... I mean, I want to do this, so I'm really glad I get the chance. I've been wanting to play this game for so long, but I sort of forgot it actually existed by now. I've played Stanley Parable, but it was so long ago. But then I heard of this game, I thought like, wait, why did the line switch position? Oh, whatever. Ready, set.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
What? Hey, he has volumetric fog. That's pretty high tech, actually. Wait, what?
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
Hello there, old man.
So that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough. Alright, now I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Alright. Holy shit! What the hell?
How about that? There was more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea. So, in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world. Either way, I think that the point is the same, is that most of the time you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Damn. Hey, it's this game again. We move a bit faster. We're now exiting.
Aha! So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in. Some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
Basically, Goro, there was like a... what do you call it? An Easter egg that was hidden in the game code. Huh.
Let's talk about video game development for a second. Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development. To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors. That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the architecture in Coda's games, to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
No. This was the image. A lone house in a big white box. Which has some kind of like eerie, grayish horizon. It does look a lot like the Source engine actually when you mention it. What the heck? Yeah, this is freaky. I wonder what happens if I fall. I think I'm intended to fall eventually. Yeah, exactly. Like the box from inside here looks completely different than the box from outside. Did you see the shader that they applied? When you fall, look at the surroundings. You see it becomes fuzzy. They have some kind of... they have an effect shader there. That's really cool. It's like motion blur. Motion blur is not that difficult to make, but if this was back in 2009, that's pretty impressive, I must say. Eventually I'm gonna get to the bottom, and then I think I'm done. There's something down here. It's so freaking weird. And this weird. Oh, it's a glass container. It's actually a glass wall here. What the heck? What was that? I don't want to feel like a kettle. guess.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind, I think we're gonna skip that.
Well, I appreciate that.
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know, whether a game ought to actually be playable, whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible? And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else. Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
It's too early for that. I mean, we're already we've been playing for 20 minutes. I've lost track of time completely. That's an odd. How does this work? Like, where do I fit these volumes? Given what I've been moving through. Really weird. It has to be like... I have to stream assets somehow and switch levels and shit. It's... You don't think there will be jump scares?
Puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
No, it's not gonna be, right?
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
It's chip music. Don't you mean from Crypto the Necrodancer? Isn't the composer named Coda there? I think there will be jump scares eventually. What? Listen, listen, listen.
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Character in game. Anna Baranski. Okay. You come from up above, what was there? There was a world stamped with whiteness. Enormous prison I spent hours in. These floating colored blocks. Well, it's all of these. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. Don't enable subtitles, but I can listen to every sentence. Yeah, 2? I don't remember to go through any puzzle. You don't? The puzzle is the only way. I solved it. I'm the champion of solving this puzzle. I can go anywhere I please. There are other ways. Yes, I did solve it. I'm the champion of solving puzzles. I can go anywhere I please. No, you can't. You weren't on the other side at all. You have no idea what's on the other side. You can't help us escape. You're not the one I need. Surely there will be someone else. What the heck? I've been right here this entire time. There's something really odd about this puzzle that they're talking about. Alright, so what do we... Press 3. Nothing. Alright, so I've been here this entire time. I suggest you go see the puzzle sometime. It's not meant to be solved, but you can sit on the black space in the middle. Don't think democracy is gonna help here? Probably not. Who are you? Let's go hang out there in the blackness for a bit. You may not like it at first, but it'll grow on you. Eventually.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level. It's a lamppost. Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason Coda fixates on this lamppost. It's going to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, you know, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive, a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
Destinations? Yeah, we don't deal with destinations around here, you know. The last one was January 2009, now we're in April, so it took a long time to make that one. This game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All notes you see are left by other players. Alright. Nice room. Not.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're gonna see have been written by Coda. This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento, where I grew up. I saw him working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy, trying to get his attention. I was over-enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually. Oh, feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy
I can't
socializing.
jump off the ledge.
I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
It's a pretty, like, the base idea of this stage is pretty cool. Little doors, can't open door, thanks. Anytime he's supposed... Yeah, he explains a lot of thoughts behind stuff that seems more random than anything else. Or it seems that's the result of a complete madman. This is stuff you'd probably be... they'd put you in a home for if you did too much. It somewhat reminds me of... God damn, what's the name of that game? There's another game that's like really weird like this. Not like this, but... They learned you cannot fall off. Nope. But almost no one got down there and placed thoughts. Someone put a lot of work into all these notes. I so wish I could run. I wonder if this Coda dude actually exists. Or if it's just a myth. I beat the game!
At the end of this level, we're going to see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one. In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on. And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here. To step back and connect the pieces together. To grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
How do you leave a note? Why do you have to expose me to these games that keeps weirding me out?
Okay, this one is tough. It's gonna kinda just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Yeah, I have that the next game is not decided at the moment message when we're doing encounters. Since I'm not sure what will come after an encounter, I just put the we don't know actually. It's much easier than the alternative. To try to like create something heuristic that tries to, yeah. You're not weird. It's a great miss.
See, like, this is it. The whole game. And there's nothing that's particularly interesting about it. You just walk to the end of a hallway. Except, for some reason, Coda gets really fixated on this prison that has all of this modern furniture. And I don't know why, but he decides he needs to revisit this prison. He's gonna start over, use the same assets, turn it into something else. Okay, cool. Here's version 2.
What I said about... yeah, so it's... it's difficult when you're doing an encounter to know what we're doing next. It could be the next journey game, it could be another encounter, it could be anything basically. So that's why I have that message. How about a TV? That's not a TV. 10 stoves lined up along the wall. Put a huge picture of a horse. I'd really like a washing machine. I want a huge picture of a horse. Can I have a huge picture of a horse? Let's give people a few moments. No one says anything? Then I want a huge picture of a horse. God damn it. A skylight, full ceiling window. We'll put a live Tesla coil in each corner. Yeah. What? Oh. Tables were invented in 1935. I am pretty sure none of my choices make any difference by now. Oh.
There's a bit more to this one, but still it's not really communicating anything. It's kind of just weird for weirdness' sake.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way of putting it. It's just weird.
Okay, he throws it out and starts over. This time he comes at the prison idea from a different direction.
This guide will enable you to escape the prison environment. Follow the instructions carefully. Take care to remember each step. Click this table. Go to frame and click it. Click it to turn it slightly. Turn the floor lamp on this room off, then turn it back on. Left side sofa, move it over a little bit. Touch the shelves. In a real prison, the escape will now open. Return to the start to be taken back to your prison. Right?
And of course, now the table is gone and you can't begin the chain of events to escape.
Ah!
Here's a version where there are no bars, but you can't actually get to the well. And then a version where the inside of the prison is the outside and the outside is the inside. Let me just blink you real quick through a few more of these. I mean, he really unloaded on this prison idea. There's nearly a dozen of them. Personally, I think it's awful to watch this. To see a person basically unraveling through their work. And for what? Like, at what point do you just go, maybe there are game ideas other than this prison that I could be working. But Coda doesn't have that voice telling you to stop. That
Thank you for the host,
mechanism of defense against yourself. Without it, you just spiral. And so he keeps going and going and going and going and going. And then he hits on something. And he likes it. And that's it. He's done. He stops making prisons. This is the very last version of the prison game that he created. And the reason I think it works is that the prison is not actually in it.
Shovel snow. Nice. Wait, isn't it like... No, wait, it's 7 AM at your place now. You gotten a lot of snow? Well, we actually have thaw... Is it called thaw weather? It's thawing. 7 inches overnight. Hey, that's the lamppost again. I guess we're done. See ya. Up. Can't move. Who this? I'm you from after you escaped the prison. You're me? So you were trapped in this prison too. It was in the furniture maze.
It's a conversation. And so this is what Coda wants, is to be able to talk to someone, to share what's on his mind, and to get some good advice from someone who knows.
In the furniture maze.
The irony is that even in this scenario, you're still talking to yourself. You know, all of these games so far are Coda talking to himself.
You know, like I feel like I'm being completely still and wildly in motion. Already forgetting. Really? How long has it been since you got out? Only a few minutes, but somehow it's already fuzzy. Kinda like it never happened. How could you possibly forget? Promise you it's not as bad right now as you think it is. Anything can seem infinite. Damn, these are pretty deep answers. It's not as bad right now. You don't ever forget it, you just stop identifying with it. Then did you get a call from another version of you when you were trapped? I think I'm the first person to call back. Yes, I did get a call, that's how I escaped. How to get out? Maybe I can come find you. What do I have to do? Get out, you need to tell me how you feel right now. Just talk with me for a bit. Just be sincere. This is so freaking weird. Can't know until you're out, but I promise it works. It will make sense. Okay, I can talk. Let's just talk for a bit. Will you be here? I will be here as long as you need.
I can see why he considers this a fitting conclusion to the prison games. After all of the obsession and frustration, just to be told by someone you can trust that things are going to be okay. Wouldn't that be nice? So what would it look like if Coda wanted to make a game about talking to someone other than himself? To me, this environment is meant to represent Coda's puzzle, with the two doors on either side and a dark transitional space between.
Man, I hate these. Place.
You'll notice
nice.
that the quality of the art is a step up from previous games, including this new and improved chat system, which he started using from this point on. From here on out, he begins putting much more effort into the visual polish of his work, and this particular game took 2 months to create as a result.
Through this mess, I promise you. I wish there was more. Why don't I finish up here? Near the table. Pick the table. That's the table. Now would you please run into the bedroom and make the bed? No, it's just that it's so creepy to it's just creepy. Why don't you just straighten the rug a bit? This could actually, like this what they're doing here is really comfy. Straighten the pillows. Yep. Clean the spill. Up. Hi Tudori, we were playing the beginner's guide. I feel compelled to share an incredibly cheesy personal insight. You okay with that? Make it especially cheesy, please. Stupid, sorry, no, never mind. The dishes, why don't you come do that? Sure, we can do the dishes. The tub needed a cleaning. How about you scrub it down? No need to be perfect, we're just humans. Books? Oh yeah, let's arrange the books. There we go. Perfect. Looks just like home. I cleared the dishes
After
of
the intense set of prison games, this house cleaning level almost feels like cleansing. It's the moment after a particularly difficult or traumatic experience where you just need to let it sit and digest inside of you, and eventually cohere into something meaningful.
Let me tell you something. Whatever work you do, you have absolutely got to own it, otherwise it owns you. So why don't you ask future hand leave the future chores to future you? Present you went to smooth out the rug in the bedroom.
I know that Coda really liked this game. Of all of his work, actually, this was the only one that he called me up to ask me to come over and look at it. This was during a period of a few months where he was like grossly happy all the time, just walked around with a constant smile on his face.
Say that occurs to me that one's house is a lot like one's soul. You take care of it, it takes care of you. I don't know why I feel weird about saying it. There is a bit of truth. Right, it's pretty cheesy. A weird thing to say to someone you just met. There's a bit of truth to it, no? I actually care a lot about having a clean house. I care about it a lot. Books, would you please clean up the books? They just keep doing housework, I guess.
I'm glad he made this. I'm glad he found some peace.
The dishes! The dish... no? Question.
But, of course, it can't last. The music stops, your companion is gone, it's time to leave. The door at the top of the hill is now open as well. Again, you can't stay in the dark space for too long. You just can't. You have to keep moving. It's how you stay alive.
Yes, yes. Oh, lamppost.
Which is the whole point of the puzzle doors, right? That sooner or later you have to pick up and move. I really thought that was the point of it. This one gets a bit goofy.
Why did you come here today? Was it to improve your life? Was it to get a better job? Make a relationship? I don't have a body. I want your friends, the people in your life, to look at you and think, wow, this person is a better human than I am. Right now, who do you think about that way in your own life? Who do you think is so well developed as a person that they make you feel disgusted with yourself? Compared to whom you feel selfish, ungrateful, I intend to make you into that person. Perfection is within your grasp. And the question is not how do we do it, but how do we do it effortlessly. This is easy. It is so easy.
About halfway through the game, the perspective shifts.
Being perfect is effortless. What the shits?
And you play as the teacher. And suddenly, you discover that your teacher is just as bigoted and afraid as you are. Oh, and also you can move around the classroom now.
Oh. This is the key. How do I achieve it with no effort? I still love you, it's just that you make me feel cold. Being alone must be awful. If you're torturing yourself trying to find the right solution for your life, you're not doing it right. Seek out only one thing, what is the easiest, simplest path. Do you understand? Ha 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 ha, just kidding. Oh, there's a lamppost. No, I can't get to it. Oh, so the yellow answers are like what you actually say. The black ones are the what you feel. Going to everyone run.
I felt pretty hard for this one. I feel like it's one of the most relatable experiences that you can have. To assume that some other person is perfect and totally fulfilled in every way, and completely miss all of the little flaws that make them painfully human. I think about this game a lot these days.
Now that was pretty cool. But I do get the feeling that Coda is
This
probably...
one took a lot longer than all the others for Coda to make. It was 4 months between this and the last one. That's twice as long as it took him to make any other game before this, and it's not like it's particularly complex, so I remember I found that a little strange at the time.
Can't interact with them. Holy hell! Ah. Oh, alright. The phone is... Please, please. The scene you'll be playing as me. We are at a gathering of professionals. First, you'll start out leaning against this wall. Yeah, like this. Stay right there. The woman across the room, in the chair, is a professional photographer of animals. It's your dream to photograph animals professionally. This is your one chance to learn something from her, to gain something, to succeed. Go on, say something. Hello. Hello? Is that it? That's not a conversation. You need to actually converse with her. Be a human being. Do it again. Alright. I am super scared right now. That's not what I said to her at all. You're completely missing the tone of the conversation. Oh, wise. Successful. Happy. Focused. I was reserved, but I know what I wanted. I was confident. For some reason, I was just at one moment, but I was confident. Maybe it's that you need a better feel of the setting. There were a lot of people around us. I'll give you some props to work with. These cones that bounce when you touch them will represent the people. Doctor again. What? Oh. You must have worked really hard to get where you are. I'll bet you've learned to lean into the pain. What are some sacrifices you had to make? What are some sacrifices you had? You're messing it up again. Oh. Everything was riding on this. Oh. Try stepping back from the stage. Hey, lamppost. Oh. Jesus. Aww. I guess I lost my chance.
The game ends with this eerie premonition of what's going to happen next in Coda's life. The solution to social anxiety, to fears of having to
is
perform
really
and
wonderful.
having to chase success, the answer for Coda is to withdraw, to hide himself away. Which is what leads to scenarios like the stairs that slowed you down several games ago, where it
Doing
just
great.
becomes harder and harder to access Coda's inner landscape because he keeps retreating. He just keeps backing away from possible connections to anyone other than himself. And to be honest, I didn't consider it very healthy when I first played this game. You know, it looked to me like he was trying to justify the idea of just disconnecting yourself from the world. And that wasn't what I wanted for him or for his game. Because I feel like a lot of his games are inviting me to connect with this person, to bring him closer. But what can you do? After this, Coda went off and took another 5 months to make a new game.
I don't like where this is going. Wait, mode is to play this game properly, you must keep your eyes closed. Click to begin the game. I want to see. Alright, let's do this. It's so hard. I'm so curious. It's so difficult to not look. Am I supposed to do anything? Alright, let's walk forward. What?
You should probably open your eyes if you haven't already. It's pretty much impossible to solve otherwise. And there is a solution, by the way.
Ah. What's going on? You're gonna be killed by a giant door. What's going on? I can't see anything. Oh. Please, someone talk to me. Research. Blind. Research. Right, run away. Hey, the lamppost! The lamppost! The lamppost! God damn it. Hurry. And bursting with creative energy. That isn't truthful. Oh. I thought it was. No, 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 no. What's going on? Pick something that is honest. I can't keep making these. I was so freaking scared.
Like I said, I was getting concerned. First off, he's never been this explicit in his work
I don't
about
feel it
exactly what
anymore.
he's thinking.
I'm out of
So,
ideas.
Where's
It's
that
draining.
coming from? But then even weirder, his work has potentially stopped being an outlet for him. Not like he's having trouble iterating on ideas, but he literally just can't think of
Wait,
new
the
ideas
whisper
anymore.
machine.
And in person, he was being a lot more distant than usual. Like, you know how sometimes a person will just deflect anything that you say in order to keep themselves disconnected?
Thought it was
all
gonna
the
be
time? It
easy.
was that kind of thing. Here was the point in my relationship with Coda where I really started to wonder if he needed my help in some way.
I'm alone. We're going to be okay. Huh.
His games are going to get more desperate from here on out. After this game, it's almost 6 months before he finishes something new.
I'm starting to... yeah, it feels like this is slipping away. What is this? Jesus. That was pretty cool. Where did this island come from? This is pretty advanced if it's done with the Source engine. How lovely. It's been a long time since I talked to anyone. What's wrong? You look lost. When I try to create, I feel empty. I have nothing less to give to my work. I'm completely out of ideas. Open bad stork, dancing banana. Oh no! What's happened? Did something change? There was a machine that kept me going and it stopped. You're looking for a machine? I think I know where it is. It isn't far. I need to see it to know why it stopped. This is really well made.
If the last game featured Coda talking explicitly about his creative frustrations, this one turns it up to 11. Now, put yourself in my shoes playing this.
Deal.
Here's a friend whose work is exhibiting signs of struggle, frustration, anxiety, depression, even. And yet, still, he keeps making games. He keeps throwing himself into the grinder even when he clearly doesn't have the energy for it anymore. Why? What is it for? Because from my perspective at the time, and just what I knew of him, this was a result of how isolated he was. He was in his own little bubble, just sitting at his computer all day, not really showing these games to anyone.
I recognize this.
Not releasing them onto the internet. And so he didn't have anyone outside of himself to connect with. He had no outlet to ground himself on.
First you have to open the door. Right, now what? Now you have to close. Now you have to. Now you have to press the switch on the inside. You have to close the first door. You have to press the switch on the inside. Ah, you can't explain it. That's the trick here. You have to open the door. Now what? You have to close the first door. What's next? Now you press the switch here. It was so simple.
You can't talk yourself out of loneliness. It doesn't work that way. You can't be the one writing both the questions and the answers. Then there's no movement. Then there's no circulation. If all of your anxieties are being channeled into your work, then if the work ever fails, you have no backup and you're just going to crash.
There's no machine here. You have to say that your work is fun and easy. You have to say the game development is simple and joyous and that you love it 100% of the time. Shit, this is so horrible. Let's keep talking. Keep saying that creation is easy. I feel completely energized. Press the
Seeing this
switch.
game at the time that he made it, it looked really unhealthy to me.
Really
Watching him
unhealthy.
do this to himself, and I hated it. I hated seeing him so trapped. It's like video games are not worth this
Exactly.
amount of suffering.
All of this is just from previous
This is
games.
someone I really cared about, and I used to get so much joy out of seeing him create. For him to suddenly become angry and frustrated like this, it was the worst thing for me.
Please continue. It always pays off eventually. Pain breezes effortlessly on me.
I don't know. This is what I felt at the time. I don't know how else to explain it.
Really? I would have called the
Wanted it
person
to
up and said
stop
like, what the
more than
shits do we need to
anything.
take you to
I
a
never
doctor?
felt so rotten. I needed more than I had ever needed anything for this to stop. But it didn't stop. After finishing this one, Coda takes another 7 months and comes up with a new game.
I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. This person has lost it by now. Capture the machine, it's waiting for you. You can begin to interrogate it. I intend to be quick, I intend to be quiet, I intend to be brutal. I intend to be quick. Very good. Just warned that someone called the press, so we might have a bit of attention on this. One more thing that you should know about machine. It calls itself Coda.
And of
Stopped.
course, it's the machine.
Stopped feeding us. Your work was keeping us alive. Stopped feeding us. Those people out there, can you imagine what pain you put them through? It's only because of your creation that any of us can make it through every day. How could you possibly go back to trusting you? How could we possibly go back to trusting you to do this job? You need to go to the people who are out there and apologize. You have to admit to the people that you allow them to suffer. You've been so alone. Think carefully. I know how to hurt you. I have seen the things you fear. No, nothing. I will speak to them for you. Who was this person? This Coda? My followers. It falls on me to deliver bad news. I have a troubling revelation. The machine will not apologize to us. The machine refuses to admit that it is deliberately hurting us. But this is not important. We are stronger than it thinks we are. We will find a way to live without it. We do not need its games. Let us pay in retribution. Let us show it that we are not failures. Let us pay in retribution. Follow me, we will destroy the machine. We will destroy everything that the machine has created. We will destroy everything the machine has created. Hey, it's the stage game again. It's gonna turn on. Boom. No. No. Of course not. Whoop. Ah. Oda, I'll make sure your work dies here. I'll make sure you're known forever.
So now the work is becoming self-destructive. And I'll tell you, at the time that I first played this game, shortly after he made it, here's what I'm thinking to myself. I'm thinking that code is stuck in his own head, and that it's having a very negative effect on him, and that all he needs to do is just start showing his work to people, to get some actual feedback on his games. It might get him out of isolation. And so, as I'm thinking this, I realize that I could be the one to initiate it. Because it would never occur to Coda to start actively soliciting feedback, so what if I did it for it? If he could see the difference it would make to have more actual conversations with other human beings, would that bring him out of his mental spiral? Would it give him confidence in himself? Would it bring meaning back into his work?
Oh, it was the happy room. Oh shit.
So I started showing Coda's work to people. I took this one, and the islands which you just played, the theater, the notes, the house cleaning game, and some of the prison escape games. I brought them to people that I knew and trusted. I asked their opinions. And the great part is that they really loved his games. You know, the point of it all was just to give him some external reference point, but they genuinely loved his work. There was nothing for him to be afraid of.
Can't do anything. Well, we have the lamppost over there, so put down your weapon. And now it talks. I can't do anything. I can't move. I guess I need to shoot it.
Can you see why I felt like this was the right thing to do? Because it's the thing that I always feel like I need, to be told that my work is good, that I am good. When someone really connects with a thing that I've made, when they see themselves purely in my work, there's nothing that feels better. And I got to give that very same feeling to my friend. I did something, I really felt like I'd done something good, like I was a good person. I felt like there was a friend who was in trouble and was unhappy and maybe didn't like themselves, and I could fix it. If I could give him this gift, maybe I could fix the problem. When they told me how much they enjoyed his games, it was the best feeling. It was the absolute best feeling. It made me feel so happy. So beautifully, beautifully happy.
Can I look back now? Alright.
So anyway, Coda finishes this game, and then really he just kind of takes off for a while. So this is June of 2011, and I didn't hear anything from him for several weeks, I guess. And so out of nowhere, one day I get an email, and it's got a private link to a new game of Coda's. This one is called The Tower, and to my knowledge, it's the last game that Coda ever made. So let's take a look.
Do we really want to do this? Coda was a surprisingly good composer, I must say. and sound designer.
And this is where I have trouble saying anything meaningful about Coda's work. Because more than anything else, the tower just feels distant. It feels like it's trying to distance itself from the world. It's a very cold game.
If this is actually a true story, if this Coda person existed, then that person went down a horrible mental spiral.
This room actually has a maze in it. Except that all the walls of the maze are invisible. And then every time you touch one of the walls, there's this awful flashing and noise, so the experience is really miserable. The game goes beyond not being meant to be played, it actually seems to despise the player for trying to play it at all. But I do want to show you the rest of the levels, so when you're ready to continue, press enter and I'll put a bridge over the maze.
Thank you. Love how this ends. Well, I'm glad someone. I'm
And
glad
to be
someone
fair, it's not
said
like this
that.
is the first game that's needed some modification to be playable. Like the house cleaning game. You know, that one used to actually loop the cleaning chores and you just cleaned a house forever. I had to cut it off so that you could exit the house and the game would actually end. But that game had an idea that it was actually trying to communicate. What's the deeper idea behind the invisible maze?
It's just there to punish people, I feel. I do sort of like agree with the sentiment there that they're punishing the player. They are despising the player. But it's also interesting.
The only way past this challenge is to randomly guess the 6-digit code. Like the invisible maze, it's frustrating to me, because it's the opposite of everything else that Coda has made. It doesn't encourage thought or engagement. It doesn't ask anything of me, except a lot of my time. If I could have reached him during this time, then maybe I could have asked him, but I couldn't. I still don't really understand why this is here. I'll put the code on the ground for you here, though, so that we can move on.
One, 5, 1, 6, 1, 7. Yes, I heard what David said, but yeah, I sort of like agree with his sentiment that someone is despising the player. But the strange thing is, why does Coda despise the player if he never released any of his games? If the player is not himself, that is, I guess. And this is it.
The switch to open this door is actually on the other side of the door, meaning that it's literally impossible to solve from this side. So even if you somehow brute forced your way through the first two challenges and you got to this point, there's actually just no way to progress. And it's scary for me, the idea of Coda cutting himself off entirely, just saying, you know, that's it, that's the end of the conversation, not giving me any way to fix the problem. I feel like a failure, I guess, when I can't fix the problem.
Yeah, alright, cleaning has to end eventually.
I can open this door for you, so let me do that. Was I a failure for not understanding this game? I mean, I don't know why I would be. It's not like everything needs to have a solution, but I feel it somehow. I feel like I failed, and I don't understand why. I remember, it's June of 2011. I'm playing this for the very first time, and as I'm playing, I'm thinking to myself, I don't know this person. I have no idea who this person is. It wasn't the guy I knew, it wasn't my friend. I had come to so many conclusions from looking at all of his work up to this point, and then suddenly none of them... I had been trying to, though. That was the thing. For years I was trying to get to know him, to understand who he actually was and what he stood for. I asked him so many times to please just tell me what his games mean to him. I asked him please to tell me what the 3 dots mean. And he wouldn't.
The first color we saw over there. Ah, the bridge, I guess.
I just felt so strongly that if I could have connected with him, that if I could have somehow made his work my own, that I would finally be once and for all happy. It was that I needed to see myself in someone else. I needed to be someone other than me. But he stopped and left, and it felt somehow like I had failed.
I really don't like one part of what he's saying here. It's basically
Where
He
did I
tried-
screw up?
he tried his best to help someone. That person didn't want his help, and then he feels failed.
I'm the reason that you stopped making games, aren't I? It's because of what I did. I poisoned it for you. I don't think I ever told you this, but when I took your work and I was showing it to people, it actually felt... it felt as though I were responsible for something
I
important
wonder at
and
times,
valuable.
where do you think I'm making these games for you? You've so infected my personal space that it's possible I did begin to plant solutions in my work somewhere, hidden between games.
And the people who played them, they treated me like I was important. They really listened and cared about
If there
what
was
I had
an
to say.
answer, a meaning,
Even though
would
I
it
was
make
showing
you any
your work,
happier?
it was
Would you stop taking my
felt
games and
good
showing
about
them to people
myself.
against my wishes?
Finally,
Giving them
for a
something
moment
that is
while I
not
had
yours
that,
to give,
I
violating
liked
one
myself.
boundary keeps me safe. Would you stop changing my games? Stop adding lamp posts to them.
And then you stopped. And I
You
didn't have
simply let
anything
them
left to
be
show people.
what they are.
I just had to be with myself. And as soon as that
I'm
happened,
around you, I
there
feel
was
physically
no
ill.
feeling at all.
You desperately need
Nothing.
something, and I
Less than
cannot give it
nothing.
to you. I literally
does
do
that
not
mean?
have it. Struggling to come up with new ideas is not making me depressed. Low points are just a part of the process. The fact that you think I'm frustrated or broken says more about you than about me. I realize that this doesn't make sense to you just yet. Which is fine. You're not my problem to solve. But I hope that one day it clicks and that you make peace with this thing you're wrestling.
I'm afraid that I did something really stupid because I don't like myself.
When you finally see what I'm talking about, don't say anything. This is gonna be the one time where this doesn't work, right? I'm completely certain that this won't work. Yeah.
That's why I'm releasing this collection of your work. Is because I haven't been able to find any other way to reach you. I've tried everything. And so a part of me has hope that if I put this compilation out into the world, and if I put my name on it, that maybe enough people will play it so that it'll find its way to you, so that I can tell you that I'm sorry. I know I screwed up. If I apologize to you truly and deeply, will you start making games again? Please, I need to feel okay with myself again. And I always felt okay as long as I had your work to see myself in. I mean, is something wrong with me? Because I know that I did an awful thing, and I'm doing it again right now. Like, I'm showing people your work, but I can't stop myself from doing it. That's how badly I need to feel something again, like I'm an addict. There has to be something wrong with me. Can I apologize? What if I tell you I was wrong? Will that work? Will that fix it? I don't know. I don't think it will, but there's nothing else that I can do. Just tell me what you want. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Please, start making games again. Please help me. Please give me some of whatever it is that makes you complete. I want whatever that wholeness is that you just summoned out of nothing and you put into your work. You were complete in some way that I never was. And I want to know I want to know how to be a good person. I want to know how not to hate myself. Please. I'm fading, and all I want is to know that I'm going to be okay.
I was like, did it really end there? It would have been amazing if it just like ended there. Alright, so I kinda, maybe see what was going on. So Coda never felt...
More love, more praise, more people telling me that I'm good. Always more. It's like a disease.
Coda probably enjoyed what
Solution.
she was doing, but due to Davey wanting more of it, it became a chore. I can understand that.
I guess if someone had told me ahead of time that he just really enjoyed making prison games, maybe I wouldn't have thought he was so desperate. I wouldn't have told so many people that he was depressed. Maybe he just likes making prisons.
Just likes making prisons? That sounds like an odd ledge. Sounds also seems kind of strange, I guess. But then some people are like that, I guess.
Even now, the disease is telling me to stop. Don't show people what a shitty person you are. They'll hate you.
Was this we're playing now? Is it? Is it one of Coda's game, or is this David's game, or where are we? Why am I doing this?
I knew that my life depended on finding something to be driven by other than validation. What would that even be? It's strange, but the thought of not being driven by external validation is unthinkable. Like, I actually cannot conceive of what that would be like.
Like a place between
What
games?
now?
Yeah, maybe.
I think I need to go. And I'm sorry, because I know that I said that I would be here and I would walk you through this, but I'm starting to feel like I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot that I need to make up for, and so I'm just gonna... Okay.
Texture clips. It is really cool, this game experience, how they like take you through, sort of like someone is talking to you, like guiding you throughout everything, and I mean it works really well. Get up there. There we go. Wait. Oh, I see. Right, that's really neat. I think I'm just walking in circles. No. Hey, it's the whisper. What did he call it? The whisper machine? The whisper machine. That's probably the machine that we're talking about all the time, wasn't it? Hmm. I knew it. We didn't get to see the entire stage. Oh, it did. Oh. Oh, damn. Hmm. Yeah. I figured, Ender. I figured that was a work of fiction, but it was really odd. Exactly, some people say games aren't art. They have no idea what they're talking about. This was an odd experience, to say the least. It was a really great experience too. So yeah. All right. All right. We're done. Yeah. I think we're done. GG. Oh yeah, the music too. There we go. It should load any moment. Very good or awesome. Using me as an inspiration for character creation. Can't even decide on your class. You should aim for upper class citizen. I'm sorry I'm a bit like lost. I don't know, I just feel strange, that's all. Socially speaking. Alright, so it is hard to put words on what I just experienced. This game is very good, but very not so in the way that you'd probably expect it. It just touches you. Touches you is... That's wrong. Touches... Isn't it more... touches you in a way that I can't really put words into. Put words on into. Torches. Words onto. Dark Knight, Tamer, or Sorceress. I think Sorceress sounds cool. Sorceress. Also, oh, I need to check your stream layout then. In here. Yeah, they made the Stanley Parable too. This game is worth playing. This game is worth playing. I can't explain why, but it is. Trust me.